This is TWiT.
This episode of Tech Break is brought to you by ACI Learning. Certifications show more than proving a skill set. They let everyone see you are committed to keeping your knowledge and skills up to date. The products you've grown to love, IT Pro, Audit Pro, and Practice Labs, are now training the modern workforce together. Be bold. Train smart. Check out go.acilearning.com/twit to learn more. So this is a UK thing, Nate. We have it in the States. We have an alert system. There's presidential alerts. There's severe weather alerts. There's alerts for missing kids. They call them Amber Alerts. But you don't have something like that in the UK?
We don't have presidential alerts because we don't have a president.
Obviously.
We don't have extreme weather.
Do you have King Charles alerts?
The weather's always
Hello.
terrible.
Hello, mates. This is the king. No?
I
Not exactly received pronunciation.
I have met him, and he doesn't sound anything.
You have met him? Really?
Yeah.
How does he smell?
But fantastic.
I ask you this.
One of the best smelling monarchs in the world.
Yes, exactly. I ask you this because I read Spare, which is Prince Harry's book about, not being the heir, but being the spare. And it's interesting. I just want to, what's it like to be a prince? But one of the things he says early on is, my father always wears eau de sauvage, cologne.
Surprised he doesn't have a custom scent.
You would think there'd be a King Charles scent, but no. And so I thought, well, I want to smell like a king. So I went out and I bought some eau de sauvage.
I want to smell like a king. It's such a funny thing to think to yourself before you go buy perfume.
Well, the funny thing is I told my mom this, and she said, oh, that's funny because I found out what Queen Elizabeth used to wear, and I bought that perfume. So maybe it's a family.
Well, let me tell you, the thing that struck me was in person. It wasn't the Queen's, our late Queen's perfume. It was, she had the best skin I have seen of any human being ever.
You're noticing that, huh? So what did you get knighted? What happened there, Nate? How did that happen?
It was for the Jubilee a little while ago, and it was at the palace, and we
That's
were
cool.
invited.
What do you mean we were?
It was really cool.
What are you, a peer of the realm? How did you?
The royal
darling.
we.
So darling, yeah, the royal way. No, although I did actually go to it with Mike Butcher at TechCrunch. He was there as well, and it was I think it was for the Diamond Jubilee.
Yeah, that's very cool. I'm so jealous. Yeah,
they had a room. No one was allowed their phone, but they had a room that they called the TWiT Suite.
I see. You were social.
That's what I call my apartment.
TWiT Suite.
Well, we didn't. No one. I didn't see anyone in it. That's the thing. It was more like if you were there and you wanted to use your phone,
it's right next to the smoking room. Yeah, if you're going to smoke, go there.
Both things that are going to destroy you inside and out.
Yes. Go to the TWiT Suite.
It was funny.
They did say that to the Queen, everything smells like fresh paint because everything's been freshly painted before she arrives.
Can believe that.
That's a little insight. I just thought I'd share that. So you didn't have presidential alerts. And nor did you have kingly alerts or queenly alerts. Did you have any kind of alert, national alert system?
No. Well, we have BBC News, which has a procedure for announcing the death of a monarch.
Which failed, by the way. They tweeted it. The family tweeted it before the Beeb got to put the black thing up and play God Save the Queen and everything.
There's a protocol for that broadcast, but in terms of us out here in the general world, no, we don't really have a system. The closest that we've ever had to anything that you guys are familiar with was actually during COVID, where everyone got an SMS that basically said, hello, good morning. There's a deadly virus, and we have no cure. Please stay indoors. Thank you very much. Goodbye. It wasn't quite as formal as that. But we did all get one, and that was news. It's like, wow, the government's texting everyone in the country to say, please stay indoors, and we'll keep letting you know via this text. And that's fine. This was something wholly different. This is the same system that's built into smartphones that you have out in Asia as well, to warn of anything from, as you say, major threats to human life, imminent danger, missiles. There was the I was going to say the great case. It was not. I'm sure it was a horrific case. But the alert over Hawaii, I think, wasn't it? Recently, where
they got told that they were going to be bombed.
Yeah. So,
by the way, that was in error.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do remember seeing a screenshot of someone saying that the alert that it was an error was 38 minutes after the original alert. I don't know if it's true.
I did. I've talked to people in Hawaii who saw the original alert, were freaked out. This was in 2018. It was said a ballistic missile threat inbound to Hawaii. Seek immediate shelter. This is not a drill. Imagine getting that on your phone.
Well, we did today, but not with the same text, fortunately. It said, I can't remember the exact wording, but it was, have I still got it up here? I don't think I have. But it basically
I could play it.
This is the government.
Wait a minute. I could play it. You were doing your podcast.
But before you play that clip, the thing is, we knew this was coming. So everyone in the country for the last several weeks has been told, we are going to test this national emergency alert system. You have to bear in mind, no one here has ever had this sort of thing, and no one knew what it was going to sound like. And everyone was expecting that the alert would go off, but the real alert would be 2 minutes later when everyone's parents call up their son or daughter.
What is
what
this?
The hell's happened to my phone? Or what's going on? And that's the thing that would get everyone to pay attention. But we knew it was coming, and so we timed the podcast today so that it would happen live while we were on. And we knew roughly when it was meant to happen, but we didn't know if it was going to happen at that point. And so, yeah, I know the clip that you've got is as it happened.
All right, let's play this. This is a text message, Nate's podcast from yesterday. They're in the middle of a conversation.
Content warning, it's shrill.
Oh, yeah. Good point. I probably should have said that. And I have been trained after many years in broadcasting that it's illegal to play these. But on the other hand, this is a podcast, not a broadcast. So
the podcast police are going to come for you.
Yeah.
A different jurisdiction.
Let me just say this. What you're about to hear is not an alert. This is just a very good simulation of alert. So Nate, and who's your co-host on this?
Ian Morris.
Ian and Nate are just
control of App Store
talking as one does.
Going to be looking very different in 5 years' time, I reckon.
Mark in the chat says their longer term intent.
Oh, good God! Here we go.
Oh, it's happened. Well, only for you, it seems.
Panic!
I got
good
nothing.
God! How the hell do I turn this?
That's pretty much.
No, here we go. I've got it too. How exciting!
Good God! Off.
God, it's really annoying, isn't it? Go away.
We've had these in the States for some time, and it's the same tone, by the way, right?
Is it really?
Yeah.
I was curious to find out if that was true.
I think that's built into the phones, maybe, or something.
Right.
Yeah.
So there must have been a study done that's the most
annoying. What's the most annoying sound you can make?
Bad sound.
We had people listening live to the episode, and they were talking to us. They were like, "Oh, I'm in a shopping mall." And it happened at exactly the same moment, and the entire mall goes off, and everyone pulls their phone out, and everyone's like, "What is this? What's going on?" It was quite surreal. I
was in a restaurant. We have this in the States for all sorts of things. Here comes the Queen or whatever, and
that classic United States experience.
Here comes the Queen. Stand back, everybody. Bow your heads. Don't look at her. No eye contact. We have one I don't know if it's only California. I think it's nationwide. There's severe weather alerts, but there's also earthquake alerts. And I was in a restaurant. We were in a pizzeria about a year ago, and it went off. Everybody in the restaurant, and we had never seen this before. They said, "What? There's going to be an earthquake." And sure enough, I guess what happens is when earthquakes take a while to move through the land, and so the earthquake had happened somewhere, and that triggered the alert, which then, because 10 seconds later, it's shaken. And it was a very surreal
Did you finish your
experience.
pizza?
Yes, after that, we all became best friends and shared each other's pizzas. It really is a community
that's great.
bonding.
You got a free pizza out of this earthquake.
Yes, it's a bonding experience when you have these. A lot of people, I'm surprised that they don't have this in Britain. But
we do now.
Yeah. And apparently not everyone got it. It wasn't perfect. Much like
No.
Starship launch. It wasn't. It was a successful test, but
the analysis I think will hit tomorrow about how successful it was, and there were some really interesting discrepancies. Because we were doing the show live, people were saying, "Oh, I haven't had it yet. I haven't had it," and then someone would say, "Oh, I've had it now." And they would say, "Well, I haven't had it. I'm on the same network," and trying to figure out why the person had got it. And it just struck me that at first I thought I could make a joke that only the people outside of London weren't receiving it because the government only cares about the people in the city. But realistically, it was actually more interesting to see, well, if this had been an imminent threat to life in the way that sometimes these sadly happen in the midst of, then a several minute discrepancy between everyone getting these alerts, that could make a difference in if this wasn't a test, if it wasn't a drug.
Yeah, I think it's the phone networks that are ultimately getting in the way, I would guess. The cell networks, but I don't know. I don't know how these get triggered. We were informed that there was a presidential alert some years ago. And the only reason I could think that you would want to alert every cell phone in the entire United States, which is hundreds of millions, right, is if there were, I don't know, a ballistic missile attack inbound. It seems like this is a bad idea, because what are you going to do? Get under the desk? I don't know. Anyway.
The instructions on the screen were pretty clear. That it was only a test, but there's a limited amount of text there. So,
yeah.
Who knows? Hopefully
we can turn these off. I don't know about you, but in this, I'm looking at my iPhone. There is a place to turn these off.
I definitely have mine turned off.
Yeah, because they're just
probably
annoying.
not great, but
and I do now, and that's what's funny. When I tapped and when it went off, you press the settings button. It straight away it takes you to the page where you can just disable it. So I assume now everyone was like, well, good golly, we don't want that happening again. Turn this off now, and then it's all gone. So what they've really done is shot themselves in the foot. And everyone's turned it off now.
Yeah, you cannot turn off a presidential alert, and God help us if you ever get one of those, because that wouldn't be good.
Well, I'll be in the US in about 6 days ago.
Oh, come visit us. What are you doing?
I'm the other side of the country this time. I was over a few weeks ago because we were filming. So we're filming the rest of the series.
Are you going to visit President Biden's tweet suite? Is that where you're headed?
No, although I am closer to him than I am to you. We're going to be in New York City for this shoot.
Michael and everybody want to say hi, I'm sure. Michael Bloomberg. The boss.
Best thanks.